14 years head coach, one of the best in the business, over 1,400 wins, number 2 on the career wins list for active NCAA coaches, and LSU's head baseball coach. Coach Paul Mainieri is checking in with us this morning here on Off the Bench. Good morning, Coach. How are you?
Good morning, Jordy. How you doing?
Doing okay. I guess just this time, the crazy days of 2020, we talked to you a little bit about it before or right at the beginning of the COVID process. Now that you've had the time to go through it, how wild has it gotten for the baseball program?
Well, it's certainly not over yet. We know that. It's the most unusual of times. Yesterday we had a Zoom call with our entire team yesterday, and we had on it Shelley Mullenix, who's our Associate Athletic Director for Health and Wellness, and she basically made about an hour-long presentation to the guys about how to manage this COVID, from wearing their mask to every other protocol that's necessary. So it's, as I told the players, this is the new normal. We can sit around and complain about it, or we can sacrifice and be conscientious about everything. Think about your teammates, think about your neighbors, do the right thing, and hopefully we can keep everybody healthy and get through fall practice. And then be optimistic that there's a vaccine on the horizon, and maybe even before spring season, and everything will be back to normal. But we just have to take it one day at a time and deal with it and make the adjustments that are necessary. And we've got to get through fall practice and see what we have with this ball club.
What was the summer like? I mean, what was the summer like as far as production?
Well, actually, we got a lot more done than I thought we would. We had several players that went out and played really, really well, actually. Cade Doty, I think, led the South Florida Collegiate League in hitting a hit 429. Cade Beloso hit 420. Collier Cranford, unfortunately, pulled a hamstring after about 4 or 5 games. I think he only had about 12 at-bats, but was doing well. Zach Arnold, who missed the entire season, had a really good summer down there, played extremely well. Giovanni was doing pretty well until he slid into second base and broke a finger. I think the thing that really was most encouraging for me was Dylan Cruz played in a collegiate league down in his area in Orlando. Got off to a really slow start, but the last 10 games, my goodness, he was hot as a firecracker. He probably hit 500 and hit 2 home runs and a couple of doubles. And if I showed you the videos of those swings, you'd get pretty excited. Let's see, Jake Wyeth, who's a catcher that's coming in this fall, went out to Kansas and played really well. Will Safford played well. Jordan Thompson didn't hit a lot, but got some good time in. Drew Bianco went up to the Northwoods League, got to play for another month. Brody Drost, who is from Barb High School, played this summer and swung the bat really well. Gavin Dugas made the All-Star team down in the South Florida Collegiate League. So, a lot of the position players got out there and played. We had a few pitchers that went out and pitched. Not everybody. We were hoping to have everybody go out, but there were reasons why we ended up shutting guys down. But I think we got a lot more out of this summer than I had anticipated us getting, to be honest with you.
Coach, I saw Will Safford the other day working out with Cabrera, and I called Safford's high school football games while he was at university, and his athleticism, I think, is going to surprise a lot of people. How have you been able to evaluate your rookie class this summer and your expectation for that group going into the season?
Well, Will's a special kid. He played defensive back for a state championship U-High team until he was injured and didn't get to play his senior year. But we've always thought highly of him as an athlete, and he's a spunky player. And he's only going to be a freshman, and we've got some good depth in the infield. It's going to be a real battle between 5 or so guys for those 3 positions, and Will's going to be right in there. Obviously, Dylan Cruz, was a real headliner for us to be able for when he pulled himself out of the draft, and then he got off to a real slow start this summer. And I was like, well, man, I hope he's going to get through this, But I'm telling you, the last 10 games, if you'd have seen him play, you'd say this guy should have gone in the first round. He just looks the part. He's the athlete. He can hit him a long way. He can run. He can do a lot of good things. So, I'm anxious to see all the arms, the pitchers that we brought in. We brought in a lot of them, 11 new ones. One of them is a two-way player in Brody Drost. He's an outfielder and a left-handed pitcher. But we we didn't anticipate holding on to all of them, but we did, and we got some quality arms here to complement the guys that we do have coming back. So it's got a chance to be a pretty elite pitching staff like it was last year. Obviously, we lost Cole Henry off that staff, but having Jaden Hill back and Marceau and Labus, that's going to be a pretty good rotation. And then when you complement it with the bullpen like Fontenot and Beck and Kaminer and George, those guys, Mikhail Hilliard had a good game the other day pitching for the Acadiana Cane Cutters. And then you add to it all those arms we got coming in. I'm excited about the pitching staff that Alan Dunn has to work with.
And so you say you want to evaluate those guys more, Coach. We've talked a lot about fall schedules because football's like constantly moving around. Has it affected y'all? Like, what comes next for y'all? What's your fall schedule looking like?
So getting the guys back into being able to start full squad practice is basically a 6-week process, T-Bob. They have to have 2 weeks of quarantine, which the first week of quarantine should have started last night after that meeting with Shelley Mullenix. Okay. While they're home, we're trusting that they're going to quarantine themselves for a week. And then they arrive here. The returning players come in next Sunday on August 9th. The new players will come in on August 12th. And then they'll have physicals right after they arrive, both groups. And then they quarantine for another week. And I know that's going to be hard. You're in Baton Rouge, you want to have fun, but the reality is this is a new world we're living in, and we have to make sacrifices. So if everybody does the job and they sacrifice and they quarantine for 2 weeks and everybody's healthy, then that'll start another 2-week period where they can be with our strength and conditioning coach, Travis Roy, for 2 weeks, where he'll condition them, have them lift weights. They can start using the facilities again for voluntary practices, using the batting cages and so forth. But we have to schedule them for voluntary workouts so that we don't have too many people in the facilities at the same time. And then the following 2 weeks, the last 2 weeks of that 6-week period, would be individual practices with the coaches. So then after those 6 weeks are up, we get to September 20th, and that's when we'll start fall practice, and we're going to not scrimmage the first day, but starting the second day, the 21st, we're going to scrimmage virtually, I would say probably about 90% of the days, and get as much scrimmage time in. We're going to try to even extend pitchers beyond the typical 2 or 3 inning outings that they would do in the fall, so we could get a better look at them, and also for them to get more mound time since they missed so many innings last spring, and many of them didn't pitch this summer.
Yeah, wow, what a crazy! So it's going to start actually before the first football game. Yeah. Well, then we're talking to LSU head baseball coach Paul Mainieri. Speaking of football, coach, I don't think we've asked you this on air yet, but one of your guys left and went and joined the football team, and now all of a sudden LSU has a 6'5", 260 tight end. How about Nick Storz going to put on the helmet?
I think he's like 6'7", not 6'5". He's a big old man. There's no doubt about that. But Nick will return to the baseball team in the spring, and there's not a finer person on our campus than Nick Storz. I'm telling you, he's the greatest teammate, the wonderful person, and a really super athlete. This guy is 6'7", 250, and you wouldn't know it because he's so athletic. I mean, it's so well distributed, and he's just a big man. He's just a big man. And I watched his football highlight tapes like everybody else did, and I was kind of sitting there with my jaw open seeing some of the athletic moves that he made, but I'm really not surprised. And, everybody knows Nick came to LSU as a very highly touted pitcher. We thought we were going to lose him to the draft, but his senior year in high school, he developed some arm problems. Didn't get to pitch much, so he didn't go in the draft. We thought it was a coup for us to get him here at LSU, and I still feel it's a coup, even though his first couple of years he didn't get to pitch at all because he had 3 surgeries on his arm. And then this last year he started to turn the corner. He pitched in 7 or 8 games, I think, and there was mixed results, but his stuff wasn't what it was before all the surgeries. But I felt like it was coming on, and then of course the season gets shut down. And he called me this summer, and he just said, "Coach, what do you think about playing football?" And I was so excited, and I think I caught him by surprise because I told him, I said, "Nick, you only get to go through this one time in your life. I don't think you should have any regrets with your life. Go for all the gusto you can. If you want to play football and Coach Orgeron wants you to play football, I think you should do it." So he was real excited that I gave him that level of support, and I really meant it. I want the kid to have a great experience here because he's a phenomenal human being.
That's cool,
awesome,
man. It's
Coach.
great leadership there
really
from
good.
Paul Mainieri as he's telling the story about Nick Storz joining the football program. He will be back with the baseball program in spring. You had 16 guys in the Major League Baseball player pool going in to the season. 9 of them started on MLB opening day rosters, and they've been playing well, whether it was Bregman hitting over his 100th career home run or Jacoby Jones just making highlight after highlight. Have you been able to keep up with some of the guys in the bigs, and what's this time been like for them?
Oh yeah, I've been keeping up with them, and most of them have been playing really well.
Yeah.
LeMahieu had a 4-hit game the other day, and led off a game with a home run, and he's picking up where he left off last year. Listen, last year, if there wasn't a guy named Mike Trout in baseball, the MVP would have either been LeMahieu or Bregman.
Right.
They both had phenomenal years, and Bregman's had a little bit of a slow start for him, although he won the game yesterday with the base hit in the 11th inning, and has hit a couple of home runs already. Aaron Nola pitched well but didn't win the opening game of the year, and then unfortunately the Phillies got shut down because they had played the Marlins in the opening series, and so they haven't played since. I'm hoping that I haven't checked the schedule. I think the Phillies are starting back up today, and I assume Nola will be on the mound. But yeah, a lot of the guys are doing well. Austin Nola's catching regularly for the Seattle Mariners. Will Harris is up there in Philadelphia now. Andrew Stevenson is up in Washington with the defending defending world champions. So a lot of guys are doing well. I'm excited. Jacoby is going crazy. I think he's hit 3 home runs, and he's won like 2 games with home runs late in the game, and so hopefully he can get the Tigers going in the right direction, and his contributions would help them go in the right directions, obviously.
Coach Paul Mainieri, another year 14 for the head coach as he is getting his crew ready for fall ball and spring baseball again at the box. I know everybody is ready to see your guys performing again. Thank you for the update this morning, Coach.
Okay, guys, good to be with you.
Yes, sir.
Thanks,
there he is,
Coach.
Coach Paul Mainieri checking in from LSU Baseball. We'll close out hour 2 next.